done, just holler at me and I'll come stop it all.
Okay, sounds good. Rock and roll. All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Experience More podcast. Pumped and excited to have each and every one of you guys here. We, of course, are live. If you are not tuning in on any of the platforms that podcasts are going to be hosted, the Experience More podcast is definitely there, but we're going to be dropping this also on YouTube, on the Overdose Outdoors YouTube channel. We're actually recording this right now at SHOT Show in Las Vegas. I honestly had an awesome opportunity to be able to connect up with the HUXWRX guys, and they allowed me to jump into the podcast booth here. We've been partnered with them with First Form and Form Energy, and gave me an opportunity to be able to jump on, do the first official Experience More podcast at a show. And I got one of my best friends. You guys will know him. If you don't know him by name, Jonathan McCormick, you will know him as the one and only Redbeard Outdoors. What's up, Jonathan?
It's going pretty good.
It's going.
Yeah.
Jonathan doesn't like hearing himself, and I just found something
weird.
new.
Yeah.
Weird. I can't do that. Psycho.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be able to hear myself, make sure I'm like, otherwise I've done it before where I'm not speaking loud enough. So it's wild. But I won't make too much fun of him right off the bat here. We'll do that later on through the podcast. There'll be plenty of that.
Yeah.
Man, this podcast is really for me kind of reinvigorator of the entire podcast. Not that it wasn't reinvigorated before. It's just something, since having Aurora, having, things kind of go on and happen within life as it does, the podcast kind of went on the back burner. I'm not going to lie or keep it, shy or under wraps. Had a lot of personal things ultimately going on, and I've recorded a handful of podcasts that I'm definitely going to be putting out. I just haven't had anything to, I don't have any excuses of why it hasn't been there other than just life experiences. And I knew I wanted to go through and put together a podcast to have it. When I had the opportunity to record this out here at HUXWRX, which if you guys don't know HUXWRX, you need to. They're a phenomenal company and brand. They're a suppressor company, but they're just good people. I haven't met anyone in the entire crew that hasn't been phenomenal. So I highly recommend checking those guys out. And really being here at SHOT Show was, I believe, just kind of a sign and calling from the big man upstairs that you need to keep pursuing this. Because without even bringing it up or telling people that I was going to be here doing things, I've had at least five individuals I know directly, just in passing, say, hey, dude, love the podcast. And I don't have tons of episodes ultimately out there. But to hear that and know that it is spread wide and far to people that I don't even know, and I know Jonathan has the Redbeard Outdoors podcast, definitely non-shameless plug there. Definitely check that out because he does a phenomenal job with that, and he's been honestly much more consistent than I have. How many episodes do you have now?
Man, I'm almost at 500.
500.
Yeah.
Put that into perspective, guys. How long you been doing podcasting now?
Man, I think it officially started 2021.
2021.
Yes, almost 5 years.
5 years. So 5 years going on 500 podcasts. You kind of break that down. Dude, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time editing. I think this will be, when this one goes out and airs, I have 41. I'm pretty sure it's 41. I had stopped right at 40. But I got to give you kudos, man. You're an inspiration to me on that side of it.
My wife calls me the Kool-Aid Man.
The Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Things get in the way, you just go right through it. Just run right through it.
Run right through it.
She's like, I love it when it's about everything else but me.
Yeah.
But when it's me and I'm the one in your way, I don't like it.
Yeah. Hey, that's got a good woman. Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. But no, it's just a really cool kind of surreal thing to be able to have the opportunity to record a podcast here at SHOT Show. I think a cool piece too is and why I wanted to be able to have Jonathan on the podcast. He doesn't know it, but he was the secret guest that I was planning to have on the podcast no matter what.
I just thought everyone else said no.
Yeah. Shh. I'm trying to hype you up here, dude. All right. Anyways, ruin that one. No, Jonathan is someone who has been, like I said, a phenomenal friend. He has gone through and built his personal brand. He has, been consistent with the podcast. Honestly, too, like, I watch from afar. He lives in Utah. I'm out in Missouri. But I would just say, I mean, phenomenal father, phenomenal husband. Like, work always gets stressful. Things go on. You have stuff going on within your life. But I watch you always put family first, your kids first. And it's just a really, really cool thing that I respect very, very highly of you. So
yeah,
that's
the key is to get the kids involved in what you like.
Right.
That way your wife can't.
Still
be
trying to
upset
get the
about
wife involved in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she is, though.
She's getting there.
Yeah.
She's getting there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She's going off and doing her own adventures. She's actually. It's funny because she's going to Kilimanjaro this year, and I have
That's
no
wild.
desire to hike that mountain. I was like, I'll go to the bottom of it and kill shit.
Yeah.
Like, because right there in Tanzania, I'll go hunt while you climb the mountain. I'll go
Yeah.
hunt, and then we come back and have a great time. And she didn't go for that. So, she there are some give and take. Like, she called me last year when she found about that trip and was like, "How much do you love me?" It's kind of like the phone call of like, everyone's okay, but, she's like, how much do you love me?
What do you want?
Yeah, and I was like,
on?
what's going on? She's like, well, I want to go to Kilimanjaro with this women's group. And I said, okay. I'm like, what? Like, I'm going to say yes. She's like, it's in September. I was like, okay.
Oh.
And like, because I knew, like, for the brief pause that I had, I was like, if I fuck this up, So I was like, yeah, what dates? And of course, it's like right when I'm going to be in the Elkwoods. And I was like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll take the kids with me. And she was like, no, you won't.
What she doesn't know won't hurt her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
She'll have no service up in Kilimanjaro.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. She'll just see all the pictures with the kids and me and an elk, know?
Yeah.
No, but it really is like, that's something that, I mean, we've been married going on, man, was it 11? I know our anniversary. I don't know the amount of time, though.
Yeah,
So,
it's past the point of remembering
Yes,
exactly how many years.
Yeah,
it is.
it's like 11. I think 11,
Yeah.
almost 12 years. Yeah, we're coming up on 12 years, and it's never been perfect per se because I'm not perfect, but it is a lot of give and take, and she's given a lot so that I can do what I do. Whether it's later nights podcasting or going out to shows like this, like she's running the ship right now at home. Going out to Texas for a week, she doesn't even eat game meat, She never complains to the kids or tells them not to eat it, no matter how much it makes the house smell different that she doesn't like, all of that. There's give and take and everything, but that it's worth it. It's what I want, If everything boiled down to like everything went away, the one thing I knew growing up was that I wanted to be a dad, right? And so I want to be a dad, and I wanted to be married to someone that enjoyed adventures, whatever they may be, and going on adventures with me. And so that's really what it boils down to for me. Yeah.
When you watch it, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be able to stay at your house and watch kind of family dynamic and the kids and everything. And it's not just, I see it a lot. I mean, I'm sure, a lot of individuals ultimately struggle with it too. And this is just, it's a shot at guys out there. And, it's one of those things, I come from a family to where it's like, I love my dad and my mom to death. Twofold, like I've learned things from them that have made me who I am today, both in the good way and a bad way. And, I just look at relationships are just that. They are a partnership, not a dictatorship. And on your side, and this is where it just kind of comes into the guy's side of things, like you might be driven, you might be focused on everything that you want to do and gain, right, and push forward. And it's easy to say, hey, this is everything for the family. I'm doing this for you. I'm the breadwinner. I'm all these things, no matter what the family dynamic is. But if you don't have a relationship and partnership, and I really try to learn this from past experiences through my family dynamic, to where with my wife, Tina, she's the unsung hero at home. She's at home. We got a 2-year-old little girl at home who, just loves pushing people out of the beds and not allowing you to get too much sleep in that. And, it's a full-time job in itself. And as, the man of the house, it's just because you might be the breadwinner and maybe you're not, right? It doesn't matter. It's still a partnership. Like you should have, and this is, I have to check myself, right? And things like, I have to remain just as engaged in her goals and aspirations as my own, right? And honestly, force, like, I mean, Tina, and this is the greatest thing about her, I mean, there's multiple things, but she checks me and pushes me, and she understands, like, me being here, like, there are bigger goals and aspirations I personally have. I know there's ones that she has, and a lot of the times it's one of the worst things she ever said to me when she was going through some hard stuff back in the day. She's like, well, my goal in life, and this is back when school was going on and everything. She's like, well, I'm like, what do you want to do? What's your goal? You know, she got furloughed from work and all this different stuff. She's like, I really don't know, right? I'm like, she didn't know what she wanted to do, and then she said probably the worst word she's ever said in her entire, because we're about 11 years together as well. And she said, I want to just help you achieve your dreams, right? And that's awesome, right? To have a partner and a support like that. I said, fuck no. I was like, no, you have to have your goals. You have to have your dreams, right? Too many times, and this is where it came into where, you know, my mom went through and helped my dad and helped the family, right? Not just dad, but she got 3 boys at home, which is chaos. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she helped jump into every crazy adventure, job endeavor that my dad ever did, right? And I don't know all the conversations because I was young, but I feel like I can assume how some of the conversations went, that it was very much just focus on the business, grow the business, this is for the family, and they forgot to take care of each other. They forgot to dream together and set those bigger goals as a team and a unit, and also individually. Like, I don't believe they had those conversations, and it was just whatever dad wanted to do is what got done and what was pushed, right? And after the kids left, right, like, there was nothing really holding them together to where it was only the businesses, and when businesses dissolved, like, they didn't have a relationship, right? There wasn't the aspirations, like, mom was just the helper, right? And I know there's probably a lot of women out there, and I hear this a lot. I've been at a few different women's groups. Take that as however you want. Hearing myself speak it back, but where they only find identity as I'm mom, right? Or I'm Jake's wife. I'm the wife, right? No, you are still Tina. You are your own individual person, and you have your goals and aspirations. And I see that with you and your wife. Like, you have those different goals. I mean, she's super driven, right? At least from what I know, right? And I've seen her. I mean, she's body transformation phenomenally, right? To where it's like Jonathan definitely outshot his coverage, wholeheartedly, and so did I, right? Like, my wife is the most supportive woman in the entire world. But going back to the relationship, is every single guy out there, every single man, every single husband, go support your wife and just figure out, like, and I challenge all of you to figure out what she wants to do. Ask her what her goals are. You know, where she, like, Tina doesn't go out and hunt all the time with me, similar. Like, for her, it's about wanting to be able to help me fulfill my goals. Well, you also have to help fulfill hers. Right? And that's where I know at home, like, it's hard for her, right? And I can tell she fights back some of the tears and misses, you know, all the different stuff. But it's, if you don't go through, like, the thing that's changed really, because, I mean, we've had a lot of serious conversations in the last year, is like figuring out what does she want to do, what are her goals, and for me, making sure that I am taking time to spend time with Aurora to give her time to do that. Right. So it's just a little hit for everyone out there. Like, you can go aspire to do great things, but it's totally changed my wife and I's relationship when I started paying more attention to, like, what she wanted to do, on top of course, my goals, because now she knows what my goals are. She knows where she plays in that, and I also know where I can play to help support her to achieve hers. Would you kind of say that's the same in yours?
Yeah, and the big thing for me, and I mean, we're getting old, dude, if we're sitting here talking about marriage advice. This guy's like 45 years old now, and
shoulders aching.
Every day we add an extra year to his age. But
I have to get one of those cortisone shots here pretty soon. That's still a thing, right?
But no, like, with my wife, you know, it's not always been perfect, and it was kind of rough when I picked up this. I mean, it started as a hobby, you know, wanting to get into hunting. At spending more time, more money, things that, I genuinely probably shouldn't have taken from the family. But I did, and she supported me in that. And even though she doesn't understand hunting, she doesn't eat the meat. She literally has nothing to do with it. She knew I came back a better person, and so she just had the faith in that. And then the podcast, she's had the faith in that ever since the get-go, and she supported me wholeheartedly. And so we got to a point where, she's not a big social person, and I'm going to these shows and meeting people and creating relationships and all this stuff, and she's not the one to reach out and do stuff like that. And so I kept telling, she's like, well, how do I get to do something? One day I'll get to do that. And it was kind of becoming almost a rift. And I didn't like that. And so when she did bring up, hey, I want to go on a hike this weekend, I immediately dropped my hunting plans, no matter what.
Yeah.
Because I was like, here's the opportunity for her to create more things for her life.
Yep.
And in turn, that's going to fill her bucket. And then for me, I'm going to be able to take more time. Right? And with the kids, I've always wanted to be a dad, but I'm very clear with the kids, you get this time, and then there's time for when I'm with my wife, and there's times where I make it very clear to them, she is my wife first, not your mom first.
Right.
And when you guys are gone, it's me and her. So I'm not going to be, 40 years old looking at my wife and be like, I don't know who you are.
Right.
And so again, when she's got this stuff Kilimanjaro, and she's got these hikes, and people are like, how do you let her go out of the country? I'm like, first off, just like she doesn't let me go hunting, she supports me in that.
Yeah.
I support her in going. Am I anxious about it? Yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, my line to myself is, dude, she's an adult. She's her own person. We go through checklists of what, if something does go wrong, I make sure she has the best gear. She's able to communicate. She's got the Garmin, things like that, right? And so supporting that, just like she trusts me to go follow this guy reading the map.
We'll get into that. We got there's a few.
Yeah.
This podcast is definitely, it's going to go in a few different directions.
Yes.
So buckle up. We got hunting stuff. We got life stuff. All sorts of things.
But just what I've noticed is when my wife and I are on the same page, whether it's finances, whether it's goals, whether it's jobs, whether it's whatever, things go a lot faster. And it's funny because it's not that I'm making any more money in the financial aspect. This is, for me, this is a big deal right now because I've had some stuff come up with work where it's not heading in the direction I want it to go. And this isn't a career job for me. I'm not looking to climb the corporate ladder or anything like that. It's literally a job to make enough money to take care of the family and provide flexibility for me to go out and do the things that I do with Redbeard Outdoors. Well, the flexibility's gone at this point. And I'm like, oh shit. The money's still good, but I don't want to be this guy, again, 10 years from now where I'm like, man, where'd those 10 years go?
Right.
And so I brought that up to my wife, and I was kind of seeing the writing on the board. So we've had previous conversations, but finally they've made it very clear this year that flexibility is pretty much going to be gone. And so we had a discussion about it, and she flat out said, look, we hit these financial goals, 18 months to 2 years, you can quit.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? I mean, that's a big deal for her.
Right.
Because she grew up in a home where, long story short, I mean, they were spending more on bounce checks than if they just paid the bills.
Right.
And her dad made good money. They just managed it horribly.
Yeah.
And so she has that anxiety naturally built into her from a young kid. I mean, she was forced to buy her own tennis lessons, her own tennis racket. If she didn't pay for the dentist, she didn't get to go to the dentist.
Right.
And again, it's not that they didn't have money. They cared so little about the 10 kids that they had.
Right.
That they managed things poorly.
Yep.
Right. And so she has all of that built in. So for her to say, we hit these goals, you can quit, that was like, for a second I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, dude, it's honestly, I mean, just as a guy, you have to put your ego aside, and that's what it is, right? It is straight up ego, a pride. Put the ego and the pride to the side, because I mean, honestly, over the last few years, a similar piece, definitely poured in a lot to, of course, things in the outdoor piece of it, different shows, events, even within going out and building up First Form Outdoors, a lot of that stuff, I personally financially would spend myself, right, and go and invest in different things and trips and travel. It wasn't something that was reimbursed. So honestly, that and things that, you know, you look at it, it's like kind of keeping up with the Joneses. I made a post about it not too long ago. Is like, you know, just bringing the veil down that, hey, you know what? I made some mistakes. I wouldn't even call them mistakes. Like, it's allowed me to create the relationships and do the things that I ultimately have done, but it was poor management in different areas. And it wasn't just on my side, but also, like, it's no different than a diet. None of it was ever watched or managed, and it just got out of hand, right? Because there's, you know, little spending. Like, she thinks I'm doing things, taking care of stuff, all these different pieces, and she's going through and buying things and just trying to keep the household at bay and all this different stuff, and I'm not communicating with her how the credit cards are doing and all this different these things. And it came to a breaking point because I just tried to figure it out, and go without communicating with her. Just try to be the one to figure it out. And finally just like, this is a partnership. It's not just Jake figure it out. And had that honest conversation with her is like, hey, this is...
It builds.
It's harder and harder and harder.
Feel it. She feels your anxiety.
She feels your anxiety and like what's wrong. Like, she thinks it's
You're
her.
like, nothing, I got it.
Yeah, exactly. No, don't worry, I got it. I'll figure it out.
Yep.
To where
Kool-Aid
it's like,
man.
huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. And you know, it is a stressful piece, and what happens then is your relationship starts to deteriorate because it gets to a point to where you become a little bit more closed off because you're socially trying to figure things out in your own head, to where it's like you're trying to provide all these things, right? And she feels the stress, and every woman out there is going to overanalyze every single piece of that, and it comes right back to, what is she doing wrong? What can she do more, right? And she wants to do more, but not, like, it's just nothing will ever come good of it until you put your pride to the side and just sit down and have honestly the hard conversation of, hey, it's not you, right? Because you come, and it's not a her thing. It's not a me thing. It's, hey, this is where we are, right? This is where, like, I would love for us to be. Like, the goal and the dream of having the property and getting, like, and this is...
In Utah.
Yeah. Right? Like, we will never, and it's just being like, these things will never happen if we don't go through and start managing and working towards it, right? And that conversation probably happened, honestly, 6 months ago. And, you know, since then, having that conversation, her and I are on the same page, right? Okay, she's not going out and spending tons of money and things coming up and showing at Amazon and all that. Like, it's the necessities of what we need. We want our daughter, and that was the big thing, too, having a new kid. Like, dude, I mean, it's take my money, right? Like, it's like, we want our daughter to have the best experiences. We want her to be, you know, the center of attention. But just like parents who forget about taking care of themselves in the health side of things and let themselves go physically when they have kids, we did that on the financial side of it, right? So now it's like, all right, it's going to take a little bit. And, you know, our relationship has gotten a lot better since we've had that conversation. And just because nothing's hidden, right? She knows it's not her, right? And I know that, hey, for me, I had to be like, you know, I'm not as good, right, as I thought I was, right? To where it's like, I'm human. I'm no different than anyone else out there, right? And that's something to know too. Like, so many, and this is for all of you guys. Like, I met this guy, and I'll tell his story in a little bit. Guy who delivered some stuff out to a party that we had at Andy's farm when we had Fall Fest and that. And he's like, man, he's like, I wish I had your job and all this different stuff and doing these different things. This dude had won 25 acres of property that was bought and paid for, that was passed on to him from a family member. He had bought and paid for, had a completely 90 or 102 acres outside of St. Louis, and he didn't think he was doing that good. I'm like, bro. Yeah. Like, you're doing great. Like, and you don't think your job's good. Like, you have a job that pays for what you do, but you also have these other things that you're doing. Like, wherever people are at, like, there's always someone who's doing worse than you. There's always someone who's doing better than you. But, like, just take in inventory of how blessed you are, right? financially, it's so easy to get caught up keeping up with the Joneses. It's so easy to look at other people's highlight reels and not think like you're doing good. It's like, I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe you're doing good. We can all do better.
Mm-hmm.
I have a loving wife. I have an amazing little daughter. I have a roof over our head, right? Like and it's so easy to get caught up in all these other things, right?
Yep.
You all should have goals to go do bigger and better things. I know we all do. But if you are not, and this goes right back to the beginning of this conversation, this rabbit hole we've gone down,
Mm-hmm.
is if you don't directly connect with your partner and help facilitate their goals and your goals as an individual, and come together and like, what do we do? What's the roadmap to achieve these goals as a unit?
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to happen. And then that's when resentment falls in. That's where I see relationships fall apart, because it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, and everyone wants to point the finger. It's like, no, at the end of the day, if you have good things going on or bad things going on, at the end, you are the common denominator of all of them. Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So
no, I couldn't agree more. It's weird. I mean, it's probably beat to death analogy at this point, but the ox and the cart, right? If you have two oxen that are under the yoke, which is the part that goes across their shoulders, and one's pulling to the right, one's pulling to the left, where's the cart going? Nowhere. You know, it may inch forward, but it's going nowhere. But once they get on the same page, and that's the job of the driver, but at same point, you and your wife or you and your spouse are those oxen, and if you go in the same direction, the money may not be different, everything else may be the same, but you put your two minds together, and it's gonna explode. I mean, it'll go forward, and it's crazy because, you know, with my wife, it's not managing. Like, people are like, well, you know, my wife orders so much stuff on Amazon. Well, have you taken a second to think maybe why? Why is she going on and ordering? Or in my case, I'm the spender, my wife's the saver. You know, at first, you can take it offensively or micromanaging or whatever if she's like, hey, you know, why do I have all these packages?
What is this? Yeah.
Every time you go to a show,
they just gave it to me.
Yeah, it looks
they
like,
just gave it to me.
It looks like Christmas in your office, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, and then when I started showing her
Right.
receipts, or, you know, that this is a marketing expense or whatever, that's when it calmed her anxiety, and now it's a joke, you know, that happens. But at the same time, other people may think that, and the reason why I feel like what a lot of it boils down to, this tension and all those things, and I'm no therapist, psychiatrist, but if you're just like the whole, our parents used to get upset, that generation gets upset when you ask why. Now I'm like obsessed with answering the why of my kids, but in an appropriate time. Like, if I'm saying get out of the house because there's a fire, you don't ask why. You just get the frick out, and then we'll talk about it when we get out there.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If I say go get in the car, we're leaving, go get in the car, and then we can talk about it while we're driving, kind of deal. But, you know, going from, like, you answer your kids' questions, you answer your wife's questions. I feel like a lot of people's anxiety or getting upset or feeling she didn't let me do this, or she's micromanaging my spending, or whatever, comes from you're hiding something.
Right.
Why can't you sit down with your wife and be like, look, I really wanted that shotgun. It was like, you know, $1,500. It was super nice. I got, you know, essentially wheeled and dealed at
Guy
the show.
math.
It got
It was
right?
guy math.
Just
through
like
and
there's
through.
girl math,
Yeah.
right? There's
Yep.
guy math.
Yep.
And just say that, and then it's like, oh, you take a breath. And she may be a little upset. She has every right to be. If you had those $1,500 set aside for something else, at this point you can't do anything about it, right? And so, but just having that open communication with your wife, with your kids will feel that tension as well. That can cause almost more damage than, you know, anything else. If they're sitting there walking on eggshells in their own home, they don't ever feel safe. The kids are not going to want to be home when they finally do move out or become adults. And that's going to cause more issues down the line. So essentially just open communication, whatever that looks like for you and your spouse, you and your kids. That's really what, I mean, if you could say one thing, open communication.
100%. I mean, my wife, she doesn't like it, but I look at it as the best analogy of marriage, in my opinion, is it is the ultimate business partnership. And you think about it, if you're running a business, I mean, if you and I had a business together, I have every right to know why Jonathan spent X amount of money on whatever it was for the business. Same thing. Like, I would want to know, like, I would trust that there is something there if there is good open communication, right? That's like, oh, that is for the business, that is for this. When it comes to, Tina and myself, like, there was a time and period there where that wasn't happening, right? And the animosity kind of builds and just wondering, and you're afraid of like X, Y, and Z. As soon as that barrier gets broken down, and you, like I said, put that kind of pride to the side and just know, like, hey, this is for the business. This is for our family, right? And the bigger picture to everything that we're wanting to go out and experience.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm sure you've got people that listen to this that are upset with the government and how they can't pass an audit and all this other shit. Okay, so you're going to be upset with them because they're not open and communicative. What are you doing with your spouse?
Yep, that's a great point.
Same shit.
Same thing.
So yeah, just don't be that person. Don't be hypocritical. Don't be that kind of person. And instead of looking outward to be able to point the finger at anyone else, like she did this or she's doing this to me or he's doing that or whatever. Look inward first. What are you doing wrong? What can you change? Control the controllables.
Yep.
That phrase has been beat to heck, but
yeah.
I love it because it's true. You control what you can. So
yeah. Well, and that's, I personally have never heard the oxen like analogy, which is a great analogy because you put those two powerful forces together, they'll get through damn near anything, right? Like you put them in a course, they're going to keep going through. It doesn't matter what you really put in front of them. It'll just happen. But yeah, if they're not aligned, and shit ain't going nowhere.
It's just like, and that came to my mind just because I probably heard it somewhere, but also in the scriptures, Christ talks about my yoke is light, my burden is easy. Why is that? He's not just handing it to you. It's because he's walking with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's light.
Yeah.
Because you were both, he's obviously making up for your lack of whatever, and you're heading in the right direction. That's why he uses that yoke analogy.
Right.
Or the other story where, the guy that's going through a hard time, he's reviewing his life and on the beach, and you see the footprints, right? You got the two sets of footprints, Christ and the guy, and then during the hardest parts of his life, he's like, you left me alone. There's only one set of footprints. And Christ looks at him and says, that's because I was carrying you during those times. Those things, like those analogies ring true to me because, and it could be the algorithms reading my mind, whatever, but I've seen a lot lately of, and it's also true about partnerships or marriages where like the guy's like down or whatever, and then he gets a hug from his wife and his battery's immediately up to 100%.
Yep.
Or it's not 50-50, it's we're giving each other, we're filling each other up. Some days she's going to have a bad day, I need to take over, and other days I'm going to have a bad day, she needs to take over. But if you've got that, going back to what we were saying earlier, that built up resentment, she's not going to be the one to fill your bucket, and you're not going to be able to fill her bucket.
No,
no matter what amount of crap you buy her, no matter what about it, it just,
Well, that's, that's a great point in that. Like for me, that's where I personally had to check myself because I am very much, in acts of service, right? That like love languages, guys, if you haven't read the book, read it, right? Like understanding love languages and how people, how they
receive it,
feel like receive and give love, right? It's completely different than individuals that are ultimately out there. Like my wife, it is, physical touch. It is words of service or
acts of service.
Not acts of service. Words of affirmation. To where literally refueling my wife's battery is saying I'm proud of you. I thank you so much. Like it's the words of affirmation. That's for me. It's not that like I don't need a thank you. I don't need that kind of stuff. It's honestly like I don't receive that very well. To where mine is the acts of service side of things, right? Being able to go out and usually if that's how you receive things, that's usually how you give them, right? And that's what I've had to come to know more so with it. Is like I'm doing all this stuff for you, right? I'm giving you these things,
she's like,
right?
Okay.
She's like, okay, cool, right? When's the last time I said thank you? Right? When's the last time that I went through and said I love you with intention, right? Not just in a passing little thing. When's the last time I hugged her, not just like a quick little thing, right? And that's, for me, it's just a punch in the gut, but it's something like, okay, put the ego aside. My way is not the best way in this scenario, right? And have that conversation, the communication with that. And just, everything just gets better in all facets. And we're going to switch gears here to the outdoor side of it.
Yeah, this is now the marriage podcast.
Yeah, no shit, dude. Like, we could go on and on, man. You talk
We are
about
getting
being
old.
therapists. Yeah. All right. Back in my day.
We're having a stretch break,
Exactly. Guys, turn up the heat a little bit. It's getting
Yeah.
cold in here. Jeez. My bones are aching.
Yeah.
Storm's moving in. It's coming from the west. Dude, the whole, outdoor space. Of course, we're here SHOT Show, right? I mean, this place is huge. And we're going to get into details of SHOT Show here. First experiences. It's Jonathan's first time at SHOT Show. My first time at SHOT Show. It's been it's huge. We've been to other shows.
If you've been to Hunt Expo, it's Hunt Expo times 5, 10.
Yeah,
negative.
exactly. It's not just one level. It's multiple levels and multiple Hunt Expo expos, right? Wow. But, you talk about people aligning or, wanting to see the outdoor space be better, right? And you want, I'm a big proponent of, go out and experience more of the great outdoors. Experience it with the individuals, the family, the friends, the individuals that you ultimately love. Well, you've built up your personal brand, growing in the outdoor space, connecting with different, individuals and companies in the outdoor space. I personally, outside of working with First Form and building that, I have my own personal brand and the podcast and things I want to do in the outdoor space, right? And everyone should have those aspirations, and maybe you're wanting to do something bigger and better in the outdoor space. I see, you see it a lot to where, the industry has corroded the community within it, to where it's very much, what can you do for me, not what can I do for you. And I mean, there's phenomenal companies out there, phenomenal individuals out there. And I think that's if we want to see the outdoor space in a better light, and I understand people who have made this their business, right? And to be able to provide for their families, they have there needs to be some sort of payment piece and go out and do this, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it, to where it's hey, at the end of the day, we love hunting, we love sharing the same woods and waters. The competition should be good, right? But it shouldn't matter what people wear. You should never tear people down who are on the same team, right? And that goes, and I bring this up just to the relationship stuff. If you want the relationship to survive, you have to be on the same page and fight the same battles. You might have different goals and aspirations, but ultimately we're all on the same team. The outdoor space, we all have the same goals and aspirations. We might do different things, right? I might like hunting one way. I know I like hunting elk one way, and Jonathan likes hunting elk a different way, right? Different styles, right? Okay.
Biting my lip right now.
Yeah, I know. But we hunt. But I love that Jonathan loves to go out and hunt. He uses different gear than I use, shoots different things than I shoot, right? And it's coming together to where it's we can
He'll
still
grow
be
up
friends.
and shoot my stuff soon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyways.
All right, sorry, I had to
Yeah.
go back to biting my tongue. Okay.
No, but it's, if you can just look at it and go forth, I'm going to shut up, but I want your perspective on kind of the outdoor space that you have seen. You've been in it. You've had the relationships, how you said something earlier that I was man, I don't know that I agree with it. There's parts of it, but it's I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was, I don't know if was it animosity? Correct me.
What was it? What were we doing?
We were over at one of the booths talking about it was kind of the shit. I know it's at the tip of my tongue.
He is getting old, guys.
Yeah, I know. Freaking man, I don't know what I got going on right now, but
What booth?
no,
were we
it
at?
was. I honestly, I can't even remember. This entire week has been a blur.
Was it today?
Yes, it was just today. But it was hey, it was more or less the corrosive piece of the outdoor space. Hey, I don't think it'll ever get better, right? It was, and it had something to do. It was I don't know that someone had said it to where it's, and this is another time where I'd heard it's like, hey, the good old days are dead gone. It's like, I don't know if it'll ever get better to where like the animosity won't be there, like the good pieces of the community. I'm not, and it's not a shot at you or anything, but it was like, hey, I firmly believe if we're all on the right path and course of like, hey, let's make the outdoor space better and actually support one another and not tear people down and try and chop them out from underneath them just so you can go out and be better. Like, if we can go through and have this mentality of like the tide rises all ships, then it would be better. And the thing is, like, there's so many people that have maybe been shot at or cut out from underneath to where you almost feel like you have to do that to other people in ways. And I'm not saying you. Yeah. I've seen it in other individuals, but it's where we all need to be on the same page as I want you to win just as much, like maybe even more than I want to win, because I know if you win and if I can help win and you can help me win, like the tide rises all ships. We might be doing different things. We might have different styles, right? If we are to see and we'll just use the hunting space, the outdoor side of it, what do you think needs to be done to see it flourish?
Yeah, I wish we could remember the context.
I'll think,
because I'm not usually cynical or negative in that way. So I'm wondering. I mean, essentially, I feel like people are doing it for the wrong reasons. In a lot of things. I mean, you guys are familiar with the fact that there's people out there that there's one in particular that stands out in my mind that I don't know what happened. I don't know him that personally to even ask. I don't think it's my place, but there's a guy that just got officially charged with a number of things, and I'm like, he's not the guy that I would have ever thought would do that. And I don't know if it was money involved. I don't know if it was the wanting to fill quotas or what. I feel like though that's a big problem, is that people want the clicks, people want the views, people want the all that kind of stuff so that they can provide for their, and it might have been, we were talking with Dylan, I think that might have been it. Anyway, essentially where, I feel like obviously people need to make, and I want to make a living doing Redbeard Outdoors full time, but what people want to see, and I say that because the numbers show it, is the kill shot. Like that is by far, and I've done a little test in my own thing where it explodes when there's a kill shot on camera, and I'm like, that's cool, but that's not every time that you go out hunting. I mean, you think about elk, for example. Less than 10% of people, me included this year, I didn't kill an elk. That was and I spent more time in the woods after an elk, and I still haven't put that video together because it still stings. And it probably won't do well because there was no elk killing involved. But I want to put that story together because I want people to see that, it's not always about filling the tag, and you don't need to do things that are unethical. Like for me, I want it. Yeah, I think it was with Dylan that we were talking about this, because I remember saying, I want people to go out there and be legal, because that's not my job to fill quotas and stuff like that. That's the DNR's job. If you're legal and it gets you excited and you do it in an ethical manner with the correct caliber or the correct arrow, you're not shooting field tips at animals, things like that. Legal, ethical, and it's exciting for you, go for it. I don't care if it's a spike. I don't care if it's a doe. I don't care what it is. And I mean, probably one of the best hunts this year for me, one of the most memorable and exciting ones was the freaking doe pronghorn hunt. Yeah. Because I literally drove around all day with my son. He was bored out of his mind. We had good conversations. There was other times we were just listening to a podcast or music. And it literally, from the time I got permission to shoot this doe on this guy's property, this doe pronghorn on his property, to the time that I shot the doe, I mean, it was like a matter of, I think, 10 minutes. It was very short that we were actually hunting per se, where the rifle was out and ready to be used. The other parts of it was just spending a day with my youngest son and talking to him about learning how to get permission, why I'm using, in this case, OnX to get phone numbers, trying to make phone calls, why I need to ask permission. what the rules are in Utah about cultivated land versus uncultivated. How often do they have to post that it's private?
Right.
Yada yada. Like, those were all good conversations. My son will probably never remember them, but that was a really great time for me. And it was just one day on a hunt, versus I spent a week out in Wisconsin or a week down in Texas or almost 20-something days chasing elk in Idaho.
Yep.
And that's the one hunt that's going to stand out to me this year as probably my most exciting hunt for this year. And anyway, going back to the industry itself, I wish people would stop, just being in it for the wrong reasons. I want people to be in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And money can be a good reason to take care of your family.
Yep.
But don't promise that you're going to kill stuff and big stuff just to get a bigger paycheck kind of deal.
Yeah. It's, well, and just kind of looking at, and there's that, right? There's that level to it. And those individuals, like, who, I mean, man, I look at some of these guys who have built their platform. Mm-hmm. You could look at, the Drurys, right? From like just the Midwest side of things. You could look at, Jim Shockey. You can look at the Muley Freak Brothers. You can look at Eric Cheshire, Hush. All these different individuals like that are out there that have built different brands, right? Cam Haynes, like, I mean, you look at these guys who have created a life for themselves. They might do it differently than you, right? They might have a different style than you, but I watch so many individuals hate on what they do, and I believe that there is a piece of, there's a lot of jealousy within it, and then there is a lot of misunderstanding what ultimately goes on, and you look at that, it's like, man, they're doing what you aspire to do in some capacity. You might do it differently, right? But Eric, Eric who ultimately, or no, Dan Staton's another one, right? Mm-hmm. Phenomenal human, has a different way, but he'll get different hate on because, it works out, does this, no different than Cam and all those things. But it's like individuals come in and they try something happened with them to where they was like ascendant on stuff.
So he lives in Idaho, but I mean, if anyone understands how to read a map, that was directed at you.
Thanks.
The Idaho.
I got that. I'm good at that. I'll find the nooks and crannies.
The Idaho and Washington border, I mean, there's a big town right there on the border on the Idaho side, and then right on the other side so Dan lives in Idaho. He's an Idaho resident, but his office, I won't want to do this because it's actually an office and a range and everything that he's built. So property that he owns is in Washington, but he lives in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And people following his social media, obviously they have time. This is stupid.
Wild.
They have time to follow him, and they think they know everything about his life because they follow him online.
Right.
And so there were multiple people that called and emailed Idaho Fish and Game that Dan should not be an Idaho resident for tag purposes. Like, the fact that crossed someone's mind to go, right. they need to report him. Like, exactly. What did they get out of that?
Well, and that's the whole piece, right? Yeah. Like, you're trying to tear down someone who's achieved something that you would like to be able to go through and achieve. Maybe you don't want to achieve that, right?
How about instead of sending an email and spending the time following all of his stuff, go build your own life.
Go do it. Yeah.
He's trying to do it to inspire people, not to show off.
Exactly.
Dan, if anyone knows anything about Dan, even if you've seen him at a show, like, he's a very intense individual.
Yeah.
And why is that? It's because he knows what he wants and he goes after it. And then he happens to share it with people online so that he can make a living for his family. He hates doing YouTube and all of that in a sense of the fact that he has to be on camera.
Right.
He would much rather, he'd probably kill more elk.
Oh, yeah.
He'd probably
100%.
Yeah, he'd go back to firefighting or whatever he wants to do, but he's trying to share that with people. And there's always that's a big thing for me too, is that the hate online. I just go through and like it and I say thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Because honestly, I mean, you're still boosting the algorithm for me. Yeah. So thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
But why? Like, take that negative energy, turn it into positive energy. Speaking of energy, this is gonna be another squirrel moment tangent. Everyone out there, go look up while you're listening to this or watching it. Go open another tab and look up. There's they did a study on frequencies through water. And they spoke positively to the water in a positive manner, negatively yelled at it. Like there were multiple, and it literally forms different crystals depending on the frequency that you're putting out.
That's wild.
And guess what? The most beautiful one is the positive.
Right.
It's weird. Nature reacts to that,
Yep.
literally. And so what are humans? Like 70 to 80% water?
Yep.
How do you feel when someone's yelling at you? You clam up,
Yep.
and there's nervous and all this other stuff going on in their reactions. But also, like, there's a lot more. Whatever energy you're putting out there, matters.
Well, like attracts like. Like what you put out is what you get back.
Yep.
Like you will never go out and achieve better, greater things, and that goes just to the point of tearing things down. Energy, like that is you. It could be verbally, it could be written, it doesn't matter. Like you are putting out a frequency into the world, and ultimately the universe, like whether you believe in the law of attraction, whether you believe it's the big man upstairs, like at the end of the day, you are going to get served back directly what you give out to everyone else within it. And that's where it's like there's so much animosity and things that have happened within the outdoor space of these people who are being successful. You know, people like to put this veil, I believe, and this is just me, right? Again, this is my own opinion. I believe there are so many people out there that look at some of these guys who are big buck killers and all this time, and they look at it, it's like, because you can't have it, you don't want them to have it. But you look at it, it's like, Cam gets a lot of hate because of, you know, killing these big bulls, and if I could hunt that place, yada, yada, yada. Guess what? He did it for years in the backcountry and public land. He ground it out just like you could, right? To get to the opportunity, to have the opportunity, because he was grinding and doing all of those things consistently. You know, Cam does it, Dan does it, all these other guys go through and do this but they put out a positive message. They're trying to drive this out. And then all of a sudden other individuals who are attracted to that come to that, who are maybe outside of it. I mean, Cam has done look at how many years he has to put in to where now he has all these huge, very successful, very highly influential people. They're not going to be on someone who's talking trash, right? Like you have someone all of a sudden, here comes Joe Rogan, right? Comes in, promotes it. Yeah, it's going to blow out because he's putting out all these different vibrations of positivity, which then all of a sudden leads into another individual, which leads into another individual, right? And it's after a while, it's like you have to ignore the noise, which a lot of those guys ultimately do. I mean, I have minuscule on the social side of things compared to these other guys that have been out there. But they've also been doing it for double, if not triple, the amount of time you or I have, right? So it's like, if you haven't started, guess what? You are at the grass foundational roots. Like I used to get so much shit for just even, this is back when I just had my CrossFit gym. Like I'd get shit for going Facebook Lives or doing things like, it's not real if it's not on social media, right? And like, I just wanted to show that people were working out and having a good time. And it's like, and I got hate for that and got shit for that. And it doesn't matter where it is. But in the hunting world, like we have to align in the fact that we all share the same woods and waters. We literally need to support each other, and we can't do that. Like those big names, if all the little guys come together and they're trying to tear down these bigger guys that have done and gotten to where they are, no one's perfect. Like that's the saying of like, hey, he who has not sinned, like be the one to cast the first stone, right? Like you've all done it. We've all done it. We've all made mistakes. Like I've put my stand where I'm not supposed to go through and put my stand, and I've learned the hard way through those different things. But because someone has this bigger following, now we want to go through and try and cast a stone even harder to tear them down, when the reality is, you look at like Prop 127, right? Or is that 126, 127, where you're going through like the public land side of things. Like look how everyone bound together. Like the social power is huge. If we all go through and work together to be able to keep public lands alive and all this different stuff, like there's a huge amount of power in men and women in the outdoor space, the hunting world. I saw it with that. Like we all found a common goal, string, and we all went. And it ultimately, it shut all of that ultimately down to where, imagine if we could all just kind of align in that. In the aspect that, hey, we all
pay taxes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Loud.
No worry. We'll save that for next episode. How do we solve the American tax problem? Guess what? I have a few ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go fix your own potholes and tell them to F off.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I'm this close to it. I'm like, I ain't filing that shit. But anyway, I digress. So, dude, make sure you got your own stuff, because it goes right into the relationship side, right? Make sure you take a reflection on yourself.
Yep.
Before you go out and do it.
Yep.
Like, the oldest saying in the book, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah.
Holy shit. It's rocket science, right? But.
Yep.
All right, we're going to get off that soapbox. Okay. How's SHOT Show been? What are
good.
your experiences?
It's been good.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here now. And I guess that is, this episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yep.
No.
All right.
All right. Coming in.
Yeah, SHOT Show.
Overall.
SHOT Show was fun. I came in Wednesday afternoon. So, I mean, it'd be cool to be here a week, but with what we do, I don't know, like, if you're trying to build relationships again are built, how would I say this? If you're trying to build relationships with people, communicate clearly with them and don't go to them with your hands open, palms up, asking for stuff. And so for me,
that's actually, I'm going to stop you. Like, that's a great analogy. Don't go, don't ask. So, don't go them with your palms up.
Yeah.
I would also say
unless
it's
you're
like
handing
more
them an energy drink.
Right.
Palm
Well,
up.
that, or maybe it's like, hey, giving someone is like palms down, like you're going to give them something.
Yep.
No, I like that. That's good.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, shows like this, the Hunt Expo, things like that, I love getting to see people, because you can't beat the in-person interaction.
No.
And also, again, respecting the time, right? Don't go into a booth if you do come to one of these shows. Just a little advice: don't go to a booth and try and steal an hour of their time. What I love to do is going in, and people that I've communicated with via email or phone calls or text all year long, just going in, shaking their hand, putting a face to a name, and then also they're seeing my face, and my creative name of Redbeard. But the putting the face to the name has a big meaning in any industry whatsoever, or even at your job. Showing up, having a good, and then valuing their time enough to say, I'm not going to sit here unless you had a meeting pre-scheduled. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. You got a lot of people going in and out of your booth. Just wanted to meet you. We'll follow up after SHOT Show kind of deal. And that's kind of how I handle shows, unless they want to have a longer conversation.
Right. Yeah.
But again, those longer conversations have been built up over years, of partnership and stuff like that. So anyway, SHOT Show, lots of booths. I think the coolest thing that I was able to do was the app was cool. I literally had a list of companies that I wanted to go in and see, because I've, again, communicated with them digitally and wanted to meet them in person. And I'll probably get through half of that list. Yeah. But going in the app, finding the booth number, and then highlighting it, and then knowing kind of where they are, that was helpful. And yeah, just meeting. There's so many good people here, and I think everyone here. Shows can be long, especially if you're having to put up a booth, take down a booth, that kind of deal. Bring value in when you go in. Like, be interested in what they have to say. Come with educated questions. Don't go in and just be like, "So what you got?" Don't be that kind of person. And that's really what I love about shows like this.
Yeah. Well, to your kind of point of just provide the value, right? And I would come in with no expectations. See people, right? But we had so many people. Just, of course, we're here, with First Form Energy, giving out, because we are here because of HUXWRX and the relationship, partnership with them, giving out and doing the activations. But with that, it's all hey, how do we add value to them? How do we serve them? And then we've had people that are in the First Form ecosystem literally come up with no agenda outside other than to say hi, and then ultimately just help out. Right?
Just so you guys know, and I didn't realize this is why I'm still stuck on this number here, but over 3,000 energy drinks.
Yep.
That's 3,000 handshakes, 3,000 touches. and that's what we're here to do, is just kind of, and I mean, we've gone over to a couple booths of partners of mine, and every single booth that I've taken you to and have directly, either we're bringing energy drinks or meat sticks or whatever, there's someone else that I wasn't intention to go and talk to comes over because they recognize First Form. And that's cool, or they know about it, or they understand, the brand, or what we're, so that's been really cool too.
It has been. It's been, and I mean, I got to give a lot of props to Brian too. Like Brian runs our entire warehouse at First Form headquarters. I mean, he's been coming to SHOT Show for the last 3 years, literally just coming here, backpacking stuff to support some of the guys, whether it's HUXWRX, First Spear. Like, he's built really good relationships here, and he would literally take products from the hotel room in his backpack, bring it to just give to the guys so they could survive, right? Give them a little bit of energy, give them some, meat sticks, bars, and it's just the relationship. He came serving those individuals to where now we had the opportunity to be able to do a bigger collaborative piece here, to hand that out to try and serve them even more. And it's been a very powerful piece to where, starting the First Form Outdoors thing, 5 years ago, to see it slowly grassroots grow. And I mean, that's contributed to you, it's contributed to literally everyone within the team and those relationships that have been built, to where it's not just a, what can I get, right? How do I go through and get this, right? And, people see that, like, the products speak for themselves. I got asked so many times, like, well, is it good? Is the product good? Is it better than this? I'm like, hey, I'll let you be the judge of that. The product speaks for itself. I'm not here to go through and try and sell people a bunch of, shit. Try and shove it down their throats. I'm not going to try and just market to everyone in the outdoor space. Like, it'll organically happen. But it takes time, right? We all want it to happen faster. I want it to happen, it's 5 years in. I wanted it to happen like 4 years ago, right? But it is happening, and it just takes that time to build the trust and the relationships and figure out, like, okay, it's still a business. We have to make sure, it's got to make dollars to make sense, right? But we want to do it in the right way. And, when you got, different companies like Born Primitive, like Grizzly, like First Spear, like HUXWRX, like, you got all these relationships, and you have, and that's the cool thing too, like, people that are inside the ecosystem have other companies and brands that relate to you, whether, it's Taurus, it's Hornady, like, those are other brands that connected in, those guys see those things. Well, like, it's just because of the support that's been shown, and they take notice in it, right, to where, well, if they're doing better and we're helping them, they're creating an impact in the outdoor space or the, the tactical space, whatever it is. Dude, we're just here to help people. Like, and it's cool to see that ripple effect when you got 80,000 people coming to, a show in one weekend. And I mean, shoot, you have everything from, top level, movie stars and professionals coming through here. It's it is wild who come through this show, and you just never know who's going to walk down the aisle. Or who's, you see them holding the First Form energy drink or a meat stick, or, you meet someone that's like, oh, I love your podcast, or I love that, like, love what you do. Like, you never know who's watching and listening. And it literally, I mean, it's just like anything. You're one decision, conversation, or action away from literally a skyrocket trajectory. Right? But it'll never happen if you don't show up and take action in it.
So that's the thing with people that, in my opinion, are doing it right. And I really like the way that Dan handles his stuff, but, people get upset about Dan Staten for whatever reason they do. I still don't understand it. How many elk he kills in a year or whatever, when his family literally lives off of that instead of beef, right? Like, he literally is providing his family this meat for the year. Not that that's anyone else's business either. But, the thing is that he goes through, and he is so, like, I think I'm good at consistency. Dude, this guy, I mean, he works out every day. He eats pretty much the same stuff every day. And he's very dedicated to, this is when I'm editing, this is when I'm recording, this is when I'm doing this. And he sticks to that no matter what. He does not give. And unless you're willing to do that, don't complain that you don't have what he's got. 100%. And he's not going out, like, trying to become rich either. That's the other thing is, like, what are your goals? Some people want to build an empire like Andy Frisella. Other people want to do just hunting and have some property.
Well, you think about it, it's like Andy shares his cars, right? Long time he didn't want to because he didn't want to have like the ego thing or whatnot. And it's not an ego thing. He shares those things because it's like, hey, aspire to do this.
If that's what you want.
If you want.
I genuinely have no desire to do what Andy does because
Right.
I know everything that I don't know everything, but I can imagine everything he deals with on the back end,
Right.
whether it's, between security issues and stresses on a daily basis. And I genuinely don't care about cars personally.
Right.
I like trucks, a truck that will get me. That's why I've got an older Tacoma.
Well,
that is what it is. And what I'm planning on doing with that is buying a Tundra that's not brand new when my son gets old enough to drive the truck. So it's like, those aren't goals that I have.
right.
I acknowledge that that's phenomenal that he built that.
Right.
But it's not what I want. So why would I be jealous about that?
No. Yeah.
What I want is some land, a cabin somewhere we can go and not have to worry about, other people. And my wife can be warm. Yeah, government. My wife can be warm. That's the kind of things that I want. And to be able to have adventures with my kids. I mean, I don't have a lot of desire to travel outside the country.
Yeah.
My wife does. So guess what? We do it sometimes.
Yeah.
But things like that. Just decide what you want, and you don't have to be the richest guy. You don't have to have some empire. Be proud of what you have, and share it if you want, and don't share it if you don't want.
Yeah.
And
if you have the aspirations to do it, go all in on it. But don't try and beat other people down while you're going there. And I only use Andy as an example in that because that's no different than like the Drury Outdoor guys, right? Yeah, they shoot big bucks. That's like Andy showing his cars. They show those bucks. They didn't do that all back in the beginning. No one saw, no one sees today the Dodge 1500 that Andy used to drive back and forth, to Springfield, Missouri, or, to these different shops to get to where he is, right? Now they see the flashy cars, the things, but the dude is no different than you and I. He has social anxiety in the sense, like he physically forces himself to go connect with people. Like he knows the impact and the power it can have on people's lives to change their life. And that's the same thing with Dan. It's the same thing with, I would assume in the majority of those different individuals out there, they're going out, they're wanting to show those things of what is truly possible. Because guess what? They didn't have that in the beginning. And maybe they did, but the generation before them maybe didn't, right? And maybe, me as a dad, like I want to be able to try and do everything I can to set up I don't want to silver spoon feed my daughter or my kids, right? Like I want them to earn it, but I definitely want my next generation to have it better than I had, right? That should be something that I believe anyone kind of aspires. And that might be like the 50 acres of land that, my daughter can have, or the cabin in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, which if you never see me again and I drop off the face of the earth, no, I'm good. Like I'm either dead, which I know I'm good then too, but I'm somewhere happy as could be with family nowhere, right? So that might be. It's different for everyone in the aspiration side of it, but there's no use in, like, you're only gonna build create more of that negative vibrations to where if you do that over and over again to not achieve the things that you want to be able to achieve, and you will die a bitter, miserable individual. Yep. So, wow, we went on a few different pieces here. Yep. How long has this been? I don't even know.
Over an hour.
Do you have to go to the bathroom?
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
If you guys have ever taken a road trip with Jonathan, he's got a strong bladder.
Caffeine helps.
Yes, 100%.
Makes it even better.
All right. Well, guys, SHOT Show's been phenomenal. I think it's been great. I appreciate Jonathan coming out and this crew. And honestly, anyone who's listening to this, any of you guys who've stopped by the HUXWRX booth or, helped out with the First Form Outdoors piece. And honestly, if you've just been a supporter of First Form Outdoors, if you've been a supporter of my personal brand, of Jonathan's personal brand, listening to the podcast, listening to this podcast, I appreciate you. Like, I'm a farm kid from central Wisconsin. I'm nothing truly special. I was the guy who ultimately the professors said wasn't going to go through and amount to anything, and ultimately that's just where I came from. But I'm lucky enough to have surrounded myself by a lot of individuals, and I've been too stupid to quit in different areas. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for different individuals in my life to help me get to where I am, pick me up when I'm down, and ultimately keep things pushing forward. To you guys who are listening to the show, definitely, where can they find you? Like
right
best
now,
places?
I'm focused mostly on YouTube. That seems to
Okay.
be the growth place. But YouTube, Redbeard Outdoors, Instagram, Redbeard_outdoors. Now that I'm not flagged, you can actually search me up. I had a guy from Germany look me up, and it popped up just after Redbeard. So I'm like, hey, it's actually working now.
Yeah.
So that's on Instagram, and then podcasts everywhere. I'm actually putting videos out on Spotify. So I like that feature. Go interact there as well in the comments on Spotify. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts are the two big ones.
Awesome. Definitely go check him out. Check out the podcast. Share the show over there. He's got a lot of really, really good stuff that he puts out. And then for those of you guys tuning in here, definitely you can check it out on the Overdose Outdoors YouTube channel. That's where it'll be live. And then you, of course, can find the podcast. I highly encourage you guys go through. Please subscribe to that YouTube channel. That would be awesome. Helps grow the show there. And then ultimately, if you have the opportunity, please share the show. Connect out. If you ever have questions, drop a comment, any of those things. If there's topics that, would love to be able to be covered on the show or individuals you'd love to see on it, let me know.
And I do have one more thing to say, guys. If you've made it this far, let us know. Should Jake and I build a compound?
Jonathan wants me to move to Utah.
I keep putting everywhere I can, man. I'm putting it out there. It's out in the universe. It's there.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can drop that in there too. All right, guys. I appreciate you sticking around this long. Huge shout out to HUXWRX and the team for allowing us to be able to do this podcast here today. I appreciate Jonathan for coming on. And that's it, guys. Tune in the show and definitely get out there, get after it, go experiencing more of your life. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Finger guns.